A few weeks ago, I did a video that said Yamaha announced the Montage was dead and its new synth was due in October. The announcement that the Yamaha Montage was being discontinued was not a surprise to many in the world of high-end workstations and synths, as the suppliers had been struggling to get hold of stock to service recent orders. And when I say recent orders, I'm talking about orders that have been raised in probably the last 9 months. I should also comment that many people commented on the channel or DM'd me directly that the Montage was not dead. It had not been discontinued, having been told this by the dealer. All I did in that video was state the facts from the Yamaha press release. Now, the fact that Yamaha released a press release to say it had been discontinued, and Yamaha obviously know their product better than the dealer network, I took that as a pretty good sign it had been discontinued, despite many people saying I was wrong. In this press release, it did use the word discontinued. Now, I'm unsure how much the dealer network were told about the new product, because the press release spoke of a new replacement synth, and it was a new product. It didn't say what that product was. What I think was a surprise was that it took Yamaha so long to actually confirm the end of the Montage production run. However, the announcement was joined with the announcement of this new synth, and I guess they waited so long to announce the retirement of the old Montage line until they could be sure they could service the new synth line and confirm a release date. In the statements, Yamaha were very, very careful not to announce the name of the new synth. Many speculated that this was, in fact, the Montage 2, but this was speculation rather than verifiable fact at the point that press releases were being released. This week's leaked photos show a new 88-key workstation with the name the Yamaha Montage M8x clearly visible in the corner of one of the photographs. So, is this the name of the new synth? Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. As I said in the previous rant, I refrain from speculating on the name of the new synth, partly because Yamaha used the word synth in the press release as opposed to the word workstation. I suppose if they had used the word workstation, it probably would have given it away. And yes, I know a workstation has a synthesizer embedded in its DNA, but there is a difference, as many of you will probably now shout at the screen. The images of the new Yamaha Montage M8x clearly show a number of areas where the user interface has been redesigned, and it is quite a radical redesign. But before we look at those, I do find it very, very interesting that Yamaha have chosen to call this new synth the X, or the M8X, and not the 2. This was a similar marketing strategy that Korg used with the Kronos. First we had the Kronos, then we had the Korg Kronos X, which stood for extra, and then we had the Kronos 2, which became the enduring platform that all other variations that were released after it were all based on the platinum, the titanium, the gold. They were just body colours of a Kronos 2. The actual internal guts were pretty much the same. The lifespan of the Kronos and the Kronos X were relatively short-lived, being 1 and 2 years respectively. But the Kronos 2 endured for over 7 years, give or take a few months. I therefore wonder whether the new Yamaha Montage M8x is a transition keyboard and not the final Monty. Will there be a Montage 2 or an M8 2, as in M8 with the sort of squared sign above it? So, I can hear you say, and if you haven't seen the pictures, they will be appearing on the screens somewhere around here. What are the key changes that the photographs have shown us? And to be clear, the leaked photographs are of an 88 key version of the new Montage called the M8x. So I'm assuming that a 76 key will probably follow, called the M7x, and a 61 key version will be called the M6x. But there is absolutely zero confirmation that that is the case. So if we look at the pictures, these are the things that I've picked out. The keyboard seems to be textured on the 88 key version. I can only see that as being a talking point in the user community. Why? Because many people don't like textured keyboards. Personally, I kind of sit on the fence on the detail. As for me, is how does this keyboard feel to play, rather than how does it look, how does the texture work. If the texture adds to the playing, then I'm all for it. The second is there is a second display visible in the photographs. The display occupies the area where there were labels that indicated if you were in tone, EQ, FX, ARP and MS, what functions the rotary encoders were changing. Will this be the same but the screen displaying the values as opposed to the rotary encoders, because the LEDs around the encoders seem to have disappeared? Very possible, but we've no idea because we haven't seen the screen actually in operation. All we've seen is a unit in a box. In terms of other things that have shifted around, the seam buttons that were underneath the sliders on the left hand side have now moved to the area occupied by the transport button, or buttons. The transport buttons now appear to move to the other side of the main screen, to the area that was occupied by the cursor buttons, or cursor keys, and either the cursor keys have moved up around the rotary encoder that is to the right of the screen, or they've been dropped. But there are some buttons that look like cursor buttons around the rotary encoder. I say look like. I have no confirmation they are cursor buttons, but that's what they look like. There are some buttons, rotary encoders, that appeared underneath the main screen. As I said, they look like rotary encoders to me, but what they're there for is anybody's guess. Are they trying to take or mirror functions that have been introduced in the Roland Phantom, where those buttons or control certain aspects of stuff that's displayed on the screen? Absolutely no idea, but they appear there. As I said, the keyboard, or the leaked photographs, are a keyboard in a box. And then the bank of buttons on the far right, which allowed things like quick bank access, that sort of stuff, they have been restricted. The number of buttons in this area has been slimmed down, is the way I'd put it. What has been lost and what has been added, absolutely no idea. The photographs were not really detailed enough that you could actually form an opinion. It looks like the bank function is still there. Other than that, couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. And really, that is about as much as you can glean from these photographs. That is it, right? Unless somebody has an inside line to Yamaha about what this stuff looks like, if it's based on the photographs, that's your lot. Now, I've had a really good look through, or I put it in my notes, nose through, the Yamaha and other synth forums since these photographs were leaked about a week ago. So I'm about a week out in actually recording this. And other than the photographs, no other evidence relating to the functionality of this new synth or workstation operations has been released. or has been leaked. My view is that these photographs were leaked from someone involved in the sound testing or sound design process. Maybe not the person themselves, but a friend that had been close to this new workstation. Otherwise, Yamaha would probably know where they came from. It is clear from the pictures that the workstation has not been removed from the box. The box has been opened, the photographs have been taken, but the synth is not set up on a stand or a bench anywhere. It's in its box, and you can see the wrapping, you know, that sort of I can't think what it's called now, but the stuff they put around synthesizers, the very thin protection stuff. You can see that has just been literally unfolded. So it was obviously, I think, done very quickly. So I think it probably was a chance moment, possibly. But I guess we'll probably need to wait for the marketing, the influencers and the artist videos to start to be publishing before we find out what has been added to the Yamaha Montage M8x. And more importantly, what have they removed? And on that note, live long and prosper. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.